Good evening, everybody. Let's open up this drink here. What am I drinking? I'm drinking seltzer water. CPAP, what's up? How is everyone doing? Mike Mentor, Harold Huffman. Let's do the shout-outs, shall we? Officer J. Rouse, Travis Christians, Reclining Gamer, what's up? Daniel Nottingham, James Best. Harold already said hey to you. Music Chucker Bandit, what happened? Well, let's say what happened here. So, what we have here is a lesson. Okay? This is why I'm not too... You know, when a new guy that's got less than 5 years experience says they want to be an owner-operator, this is why I'm kind of like, might want to wait a minute, because experience is real important, okay? Nittany Lion, you win the prize. Hey, Brent, what's up? Juan, CPAP. Yeah, James did another marathon live feed, didn't he? Lance, Wesley, Battleborn, work fast, sleep faster, what's up? Sun Chaser rhymes with orange. All right, I've said hey to everybody. If I missed you, I apologize. So, Nick Brashear, Stu, Manchu. The other James Best. He can do 5-hour live feeds, but he can't watch my little old one. Hey, Dan. Jonathan, what's up? So, Harold Huffman. I've got 459K on the truck, so. You know, here's the thing, Harold. Okay, so let's start at the beginning, okay? So, I've been having problems with the clutch for the last couple weeks. Yeah, I hear you, Shadow Wolf. And Shadow Wolf, you can attest to this too. Experience is a big thing when it comes to avoiding certain situations. Every single time I've had something negative happen as an owner-operator, there's always been a silver lining. There's always been it could have been worse. And today was one of those days. So, I don't know if I explained it in my last live feed. I haven't watched my last live feed as proofreading, but, you know, when I went to pick up my trailer today, I knew something wasn't right. So I called Steiner. They took me off my loads. I dropped my trailer, drove over to Kenworth, and was there for about an hour. And shortly after I ended that last live feed, they was like, "Yeah, you need to come down here and look at this." So I get down there, and there's this pile of metal. It looked like a pile of dirt. And it was all metal. You know, he took a magnet to it and was like, "Yeah, this is all metal, dude." The clutch is shot. So I'm looking at a new clutch. And I told them, I said, "Yeah, I almost did a load today." And they're like, "Oh, it's a good thing you did. You'd be calling a tow truck." So I saved myself, due to instinct, I saved myself a tow bill, hotel bill, and I'm at home while they're working on it. So, Harold brought up a good point. Low miles should still have a good clutch, right? Well, 459,000 miles, that seems to be the breaking point of a lot of parts, which is why if you have a truck over 500,000 miles, you definitely want to have some money in the bank because it's going to start nickel and diming you. That's what the Peterbilt was doing. So, but this truck was leased previously by 2 other people at Prime. And I have no idea how good or bad of drivers they were. And I know that the driveline was replaced one time. So, Shadow Wolf says, "Hope you're putting in an easy pedal, dude. It's great." The T680s are hydraulic assisted, so they're easy anyways. You can put it down with a finger. So, Peterbilt was definitely rough. The Peterbilt, I wish I would have. Yeah, the clutch was pain in the butt on that one. But yeah, sorry, Daniel. I don't know why you're not. Notifications are screwed up, guys. But obviously somebody's getting them because there's 42 people in here. What's up, James? Steven Tucker, Kevin and Ollie, what's up? So that's where instinct, that's where experience comes in, because if I would have just went down the road, hope for the best, which a lot of people do out of desperation because they got to run. And due to my flexibility with finances and my schedule, I didn't have to run full on. So that meant that, you know what, if I have to take a few days off, I can afford to do so versus, the tow bill, the hotel bill, and then not to mention how long it would have taken to fix. So originally they thought it was going to take 3 days to fix this to get the part in, unless I wanted to pay an extra $75 to overnight the parts, but they had the parts in there. So the Kenworth dealership here in town is 24 hours, but they said that they're only going to put their good guys on it because not everybody there can do clutch work. So they said it'll probably be tomorrow afternoon. So Harold has asked, what do they estimate on the repair? The repair is looking to be about $3,500. So that's the ballpark. $1,500 for the parts, and then about 10 to 12 hours labor. Now, Schneider, I get a discount. So the labor rate is less. So it's about 20% less than what it would be for the person out of the gate. Now, these prime trucks are used for training clutches and driveline stuff like transmissions take a beating. Yeah, I know, Shadow Wolf, and that was one of the things I felt better when I saw the service records that the driveline had been replaced, but I knew that the clutch was probably on borrowed time because of that, knowing that these might have been trainer trucks. So, your clutch fall on his face? Pretty much. I got it to the shop, no problem. So, but John caters the clutch. So, they're inspecting the driveline, make sure everything's good there, but the clutch was trash, dude. They had a picture of underneath, and then they had the pile of metal that they showed that I had a picture of. And if you follow me on Facebook, it's on there. So, my clutch rebuild was $2,000. It wasn't hydro assist, says Bandit. Yeah, that's the thing. They said they could have put a manual in there as far as like where it's not assisted, but they said that those, I don't know, a lot of technical mumbo jumbo that I won't even attempt to say here. But in the end, after talking to 3 mechanics and the service rep, they suggested one direction, but then they pointed out a couple other things because of the hydro assist, and we went the other direction, which is actually cheaper anyways. So Harold says I need to get mine checked, but the old Pete style, it goes down through the floor, but it's making rattling noises. Yeah, that's kind of where mine was at, dude. So, Steven Tucker, you got a prime truck? I got an X prime truck. And, and knock on wood, it's been a good truck. I mean, this is the biggest expense I've had so far on it. So, and clutches go out. I mean, I know guys that have to replace clutches, at 300,000 miles. And that's the problem. Prime takes good care of their equipment. The majority of drivers take care of their equipment. However, some of them are used for training, and that's where you run into some problems. Cool, you know the stuff. Sorry to hear yours blow. Mine is a manual. It takes 2 men and a monkey to work it sometimes, like in a traffic jam. So, Pale Rider's in the house. I didn't see you sneak in here. So, the other bit of news is that I finished my IRP application, and the minute that they were telling me I had, I needed a new clutch, I get a phone call from Jefferson City, Missouri, and they're like, hey, everything's cool, you're good to go. So, we need money too. so you go from sitting there sitting there sipping my coffee this morning, and then by the end of the day, you're $6,000 in the hole. So the plate's going to cost me about $1,709 and some change. She's going to bill it for February 1st, so we're going to figure out if we need to extend that. So, what's wrong with your rockin' vlog, Disaster Pill Rider? I thought it was a very good rockin' vlog. So, yeah, Harold says, congrats on the plate. Glad you got it done. Guys, here's the thing. I'm going to do a separate video. I said this earlier in my earlier live feed, but I'm going to go over the whole application process for Missouri and what I needed and the documents I used and all that jazz. So if everything's good, if you're in Missouri, you can get your plate. Don't forget the tax man is coming, Shadow Wolf. Yeah, well, you're absolutely right, Shadow Wolf. I'm not too worried about that. So, I made more money this year. But at the same time, my expenses were fairly decent. So, we'll see. Last year I paid like $500. So, if you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's seltzer. I'm not going to drink alcohol on my live feed and get totally trashed like some people. So, but the whole point of this story is, other than to tell you my clutch went out, was that it took a little bit of experience, and you got to know your truck, man. There's a company out of Springfield here. It's called CTI. And they slip seat their drivers. Like you don't get, and they're sleeper trucks. They're OTR. You're home every weekend, but you're slip seating the truck. And I think that's a bad idea because you don't, when you get to know the truck, you know when things are wrong, you know when things are messed up. Because think about this. Let's say I was a company guy and I was like, oh, this clutch feels funny. And you just go down the road, next thing you know, company's having to pay for a tow, they're having to pay for, your hotel, they're having to pay for, it's a lot of money on the company, all because the driver was like, well, I didn't know any better. Or, I didn't know that this, I thought maybe it was the truck. It felt like this because the other truck I had yesterday didn't feel like that, So being an owner operator, there's good and bad and ugly. And the reason why I wrote it as Fugly, because I didn't want to get a copyright strike on me or whatever. So every single time I've had a major repair, there's always been a silver lining. Sir, here is a kicker. Templar is plated in Missouri. I am not a resident. I have to pay property taxes to Missouri on the Templar. Oh wow, Shadow Wolf. Yeah, that was one of the documents I had to get. I had to go to the courthouse, and I had to get a tax waiver because I bought the truck in February, and I actually had to start a separate account for my LLC. So, starting next year, I'm going to have to pay property tax on that truck. So, Spectre, Spartan, he was helpful in giving me some information, and his information led me to get that waiver and talk to the courthouse and made sure everything was right there. So, Spectre, if you're watching, I appreciate your help. So, but yeah, so that's what's going on with me. So, hopefully the truck will be done tomorrow, but I put my next available time for Wednesday morning. Now, what's funny is Snyder, I get home and I look at my tablet and they put a pre-assignment on me, and it's to take my trailer back to Joplin. And I guess they thought I was in Joplin when I called. I was actually at a rest area there in Mount Vernon, Missouri, when I called to tell them to take me off the loads. Because it was on the way to the shipper that I was like, you know what? Stuff's not right. I need to take care of it. So, for you new guys that are new owner operators, pay attention to the truck, man. It's not just the safety DOT stuff. It's, the turbo came out of nowhere. When my turbo went out on the old truck, it came out of nowhere. And I was not quite prepared for that. But this time, due to my experience and all the blood, sweat, and tears of the Peterbilt, that I was a lot more prepared for this repair. So I'm not stressing at all. A friend of mine called earlier, and he's like, dude, don't get depressed, don't get sad. I'm like, I'm not. I actually feel pretty good. Stu Manchu will give you a little time to look for a trailer tomorrow. Well, you know, that's the thing. I'm going to have to find a trailer with no money down now, probably. Either that or do another month under the big orange. So, KW in Springfield does great work. Shadow Wolf, I'm glad you highly recommend them. So far, knock on wood, they've been great. They're a pain in the butt to get in, but out of all the shops in Springfield, they got the best reputation. One of the reasons why I didn't buy a Freightliner is because I've heard bad things about the Freightliner in Springfield. So, CPAP says, look the bright side. Guess you won't need a clutch for a while after this. Right. Oh, no, Harold, I haven't watched the video link yet. I'm sorry. I was in the shop, and then we had dinner, and then, you know, I was talking to a friend of mine, and then now I'm live. So, hey, Circus Boy, what's up? So hopefully, you know, like I said, man, if you're a new owner-operator, pay attention to your truck because things could go south pretty good. And you don't want to put, you know, as a company guy, you know, you're like, I'm going to push this because, you know, it's not my bill, you know. And Daniel Dominey says, stop double clutching. I don't I take it back. I do double clutch between 9 and 10 sometimes. I shift weird, guys. I shift weird. Yeah, Kevin Ollie says absolutely pay attention. Like, you know, and learn from your mistakes. Learn, okay, so, you know, there's a lot of us owner-operators. And I'm going to include myself in that category that we're just one or two breakdowns from losing everything. So that piece of equipment becomes the most important thing in your situation. You could be the most business-minded, organized person and still have a truck breakdown that takes you down. Juan Avalos, what did you hear about the Freightliner? Just different stories of bad service. You know, trucks that were getting PMs that shouldn't have gotten PMs and vice versa. Repairs that were done on one truck but not the other, even though the other truck didn't need it. Just different stuff, man. I'm not gonna sit there and go into specifics, you know. So the clutch doesn't care if it's floated; it doesn't know. No, I'm pretty good at shifting. I'm pretty good at floating, but I have noticed the last month that shifting's been a little bit harder. Now the Kenworth T680s are weird trucks, man. When that air compressor kicks in, it takes a little bit of the RPMs out of the engine. So it's like every day is a different day when you shift that truck. And they shift different from a Cummins. I've been driving a Cummins engine for most of my career. And so when I went to the PACCAR for the first time, which was at Transland, it was weird because that truck will still pull at 10 RPMs, 1,000 RPMs. And that's the weird part. The engine sounds like it's bogging down, feels like it's bogging down, but you look at your speedometer and you're still cooking, you know? So, Bandit says his 680 has a Cummins. Heath Close says, yeah, the compressors have to do it. It is, man. It is. Best service department is your own driveway. Yeah, if you got the knowledge or the power of the tools. Your truck have ISX or power PACCAR. I think Channel says, I think KW is still as good as I don't believe Prime is hooked into them as deep like Freightliner and Peterbilt. Well, that's one of the complaints I've heard about the local Freightliner dealership is if you're not a Prime driver, then it's tough to get appointments and repairs done. So, CPAP. A friend of mine got his ECM stolen out of his truck last night. It's going to cost him $6,000. That was down near Miami, Florida, crime area. Huh. Yeah, don't go to Miami, that's for sure. There's nothing down in Miami. Not for a truck driver. So. But, Bandit says, my 16 T680 had a Cummins. I wanted a Cummins originally. The new MX-15, or no, the new X-15s look impressive. And I've had some engineers that have told me that they're impressed with that engine. They've simplified the after treatment system. But Kenworth wouldn't give me a new truck, so. Cummins just drops RPM quick when floating. Harold, this truck does too. Reefer loads in Miami. Well, I'm a dry van guy, so Miami's a pit for me. Prime has flower loads in Miami. Yep. Yeah, if you have a reefer trailer, Miami's a good place, but for us dry van guys, you don't want to go any deeper than Orlando. Oh, that losing weight system I had for you, it's called hard physical labor, 14 hours a day, and an all meat diet. That's great, Circus Boy. Went down 7 inches in 90 days. My weight loss thing has been actually fairly decent, guys. The first thing I ate today was a piece of chicken, not fried. And then that was all I had besides some of these. I had some of these macadamia nuts. That's all I had until dinner. Well, I did have another piece of chicken before dinner, um, but when you're all in the excitement of IRP and clutches and calling in and Snyder and everything else, you tend to like, oh yeah, I forgot to eat today. I think you'll be surprised about Florida, away from pumpkin, about Florida. Well, Harold, all my Florida experience is from Landstar. So I know the spot market guys, I think Jeff and Gear Grabber go to like Orlando at times. CPAT. But so anyways, I thought I'd give you guys an update on the clutch. I need a new clutch, and it wasn't like it was obvious. It was actually when I saw it, I was like, how did I get this far? So we're looking at like $3,500 Circus Boy. That's the guesstimate. So, and that's with Schneider's discount. Now, for you Schneider owner operators, I told this in my last live feed. Always point out that you're the one paying for it, because if they think that Schneider's paying for it, they might be like, oh, you can afford that. So, for a $300 part, no, Circus Boy, it's a $1,500 part. So, I've been to many different dealerships, and stuff's high, guys. It's these new trucks cost more. Like the turbo in the last truck. It used to be that you'd spend maybe $500 on a turbo part and you could put it on yourself. Now the part alone is like 2,000, and it's got to be computer calibrated and whole 9 yards. And you know, Circus Boy says he would never buy parts at a dealership. Well, sometimes you don't have a choice. So I think they're replacing the whole thing there, Shadow Wolf. Hope the flywheel and plate are good. Are you doing new bearings? What about the clutch brake? I originally thought it was a clutch brake, but the whole thing is being replaced. That's probably why it's so high. So, like I said, guys, if you follow me on Facebook, there's pictures of there's two pictures of there kind of telling the story. And looking at it, I was really surprised I made it that far. I knew that when I was in Joplin, man, my foot went to the floor and I knew something wasn't right. And by the time I got to Mount Vernon, Missouri, I made that decision. So I pulled over to the rest area because Snyder doesn't want us to call while driving. And called him up and said, hey, you know what? I got to take the truck to the shop. So, old man Bo, I'm driving a Kenworth T680. Hydraulic assisted clutch. So, but you know, it's only money, guys. You can't take it with you. Can't burn it. Well, you can burn it. That'd be stupid. But, you know, it's all part of a learning experience. That's why if you're an owner operator, you better have some money in reserves. Yeah, they're checking the whole system, Circus Boy. Checking the whole thing. So, now I will say this. I will complain about this. Shadow Wolf, you might agree with me. But the customer lounge is upstairs. And the whole time I was up there, all I could smell was diesel exhaust. And I had a headache by the time I got out of there. So I'm kind of wondering if they need some better ventilation up there. So I think I just have about this bad boy ironed out, says Kevin. Just maintaining, over maintaining sort of now. Well, that's good, Kevin. The money you're making over there at Traveloco, it's probably a lot easier to build up that maintenance money. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to get into. Thomas Wilson, there's a plate cover where you can see how much clutch is left. Had you not been checking it, Snorlord? No, Thomas Wilson. I'm you know, that's where you know, that's where I fail as an owner operator, is I don't know a whole lot about the components and stuff. But each time I do, I educate myself. CPAP, I'm drinking seltzer water, by the way. They can't use the exhaust vents anymore. Most trucks have weed burners now. Yeah, that makes sense. Was that for a T680, Circus Boy? Not much. Lance asked how much free play do you usually keep in the pedal. I don't know. That's hard to question because every truck's been different, and this is the first time I've ever had a clutch issue. Yeah, that's Freightliner. Freightliner parts are a lot cheaper than Kenworth. Yeah. So Lance, I don't know if I can really answer that. There's just, it either feels right or it doesn't. I can't really explain it. I know that Kenworth 680s, the clutch is real easy to put your foot into it. David Riverman says the new hydraulic clutches do not have adjustments. They're self-adjusting as they wear. Right, David, you're absolutely right. That was one of the things that we had to discuss on the direction I wanted to go. So, yeah, the hydraulic assisted clutch changes things. You know, I went to the TA to get a clutch adjustment. They're like, yeah, we can't do that. And, you know, because of the hydraulic assisted. Shadow Wolf says, vacuum clutches take beads. When do they last as long as they do? That's absolutely right. Alan Bequette, I'll be down probably about a day or so. Yeah. So the most expensive part of the whole deal is the how easy would those hydraulic clutches be on someone with a bad knee? They're a lot easier, dude. Sun Chaser, my Peterbilt, my left leg was just like huge because that thing. I mean, I dreaded every stoplight. I dreaded every like going down US 69 in Oklahoma, dude. It was just, oh man. Um, so the 680s, man, like you can practically do it with your finger. Um, Circus Boy says that's way too much labor for removing 7 bolts and scooting the trans back 12 inches. Dude, there's a lot more going on in the repair than just a clutch, dude. You did not see my truck in pieces. I don't know why you want to assist there and insist on telling me it's easy. How is it easy for someone with no tools and no mechanical experience? Number one. Number two, if I have to order the parts online from somewhere, that's what, 2 or 3 days? Unless I want to pay the extra money, then the cost goes up. So, work fast, sleep faster says 8 to 10 hours doing that repair. That's exactly right. That's about what they estimated. They said 10 to 12. So, start having them put new training fluid while they're at it. I'm assuming they are because the whole thing's in pieces, guys. If you saw what I saw, you know, there's another thing too. There's a lot of things that if I had the tools and the knowledge to work on, I would do it. And the clutch is not one of them, you know. Um, and then also you have to figure out the time that it takes for you to do it. Is it worth it to pass that on to somebody else? Yeah, Lance says, yeah, they have to resurface or replace the flywheel. Can't resurface a flywheel in your backyard, right? It's a remove and replace, as Steve Berger put it when I talked to him. It's an R&R job. So, but I've got the money to fix it, so it's not a big deal. Comes down to I hate grease. Well, if I have trouble keeping my paperwork together, you think I'm going to put like something, some huge repair? They're also going to warranty their work, and there's something to be said for that value. Thank you, James. There will be warranty on the work. And Shallow says clutches aren't easy. You got to have tools, jakes, etc. Better have a shop do it right. And it's if the TA, the guys with tools and knowledge, don't want to work on a hydraulic assisted clutch, then I'm not going to work on it in my driveway. Right. Work fast says just sucks. Labor is so expensive. Um, well, Circus Boy, if you do clutches in your sleep, then you're either should be a mechanic or you'll be a good owner operator. There's an owner operator. There's a car hauler named Neil Gabel. He does all of his own work, everything from welding to parts replacement, all that stuff. But he's got the knowledge, and he's got a pole barn in the backyard that can fit 2 semis. So he's got the tools and the knowledge and an older truck. So you could still shade tree those old Peterbilts. So James says driving trucks and fixing trucks are 2 different skill sets. If you want to sit around and fix trucks, you can do that. If you want to drive trucks, you can do that. Right. Shello says, I'll grease mine. That's about it. I won't even try to adjust it. Sun Chaser, LOL. But, yeah. So, yeah. You think I like, that was the only negative aspect of buying the 680 is I knew that a lot of the work would have to be done at the dealership. So, there you go. Raise your hands. Raise your hands. I raise my drink. My vintage seltzer water. It's original. It's not photocopied. So, we're going to get off here, guys. So, I appreciate everybody's positive comments. Having work, hold on. James says having work done at the dealership generally means less downtime. Less downtime means more money in your pocket. Right. Let's say I order a part and I try to fix it myself. Well, number one, I need all the tools. That costs money. Number two, the time it gets to the part to get to your house. And number three, the time it's going to take for me to curse and throw wrenches and learn how to do it. It's just easier to pay someone more money and just have it done professionally with a warranty. So, sorry, came over to the conversation a little late. How many miles do you have on that clutch? It's the truck's got 459,000, and as far as I know, it's the only time the clutch has been replaced. I've got all the surface records when it was at Prime. All the work that Kenworth did, actually. So, and those, there was not a clutch on there. So, you also have to look at the sense of liability. If you fix it and something goes wrong, it's on you. If Garage does, it comes back on them. Right, Beaverwood? Exactly. So, guys, if you want, follow me on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe, click the bell if you haven't, if you enjoyed this conversation. And so good deal, Thomas Wilson. You got 415 on your clutch. Yeah. So, but anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll get on the road soon so I can get some stuff done. So I appreciate it, guys, and we'll see you later. See ya.